So tonight, it's pretty late, it's 11, and just going to go through the teams pretty quickly. And yeah, I haven't done one of these videos before, but if you like them, I might do more. See what happens. So start with Collingwood versus Port. So Gray is out. I think I was reading an article that Treadray wrote, and he's saying Robbie Gray might be struggling with his knee, so he's out for about 4 weeks. So he might be an upgrade target, very cheap later on. In comes Amon, not relevant, and yeah, none of these players are really relevant at the present for Collingwood that are out. So yeah, should be a good game. If you can, I would loophole Drew. He's averaged in his 2 losses just 44. I'm forced to play him on field, so unless I want to loophole him with Bolter. So yeah, should be a good game. So not much to note there. Next we have Melbourne versus Hawthorn. Scrimshaw is managed. That's kind of interesting because I thought this was a good matchup for him. So I would get rid of Scrimshaw if you can now. He might be back next week, so you can hold him if you want. Played really well so far. Cousins is out, he has to go if you have him. And Dylan Moore, I think he plays a bit forward and can play mid, I'm not sure, but he's played 1 game already. He'll play his 2nd game, and then we'll look at him next week. So yeah, unlikely that we bring him in, but if he scores big, well, we can look at that. Wiedemann out, Viney out. Viney out is good for Oliver and Brayshaw. And Omac in, Wagner in. I can't remember if that's the rookie Wagner or not, because there are 2 of the Wagners. So I think this will be a pretty cool game. Expecting Gawn to have a good game, so yeah, this should be a good game. And yeah, that is that. Scrimshaw's emergency, that's interesting. If he's managed, why is he on the emergency list? Yeah. Okay, so Giants versus St Kilda. So Rowan, actually we'll start off with GWS. So apparently Cumming has been very good in the NEFL. I think he's too expensive to bring in unless he scores 200s or something. Whitfield is out. I'm not sure when he comes back. Maybe I would assume next week, but hopefully he's doing okay. Now for St Kilda, Dara Joyce. I think he's an international player. No reason to bring him in this game because they omitted Nathan Brown, and what I've heard is Joyce is pretty quick to help with to help combat against Jeremy Cameron this week. So that's pretty fair. So I think Brown is every chance to come straight back in. I think he's in the leadership group, so wouldn't bring in Joyce this week. Marsh is an expensive defender, but I think he can play like anywhere around the ground. Marshall is back in. I'm a big fan of Marshall. I might bring him in after he plays Brodie Grundy in 2 or 3 weeks. Clark, yeah, not relevant this year. Loney out. Longer was terrible, so I think Marshall's pretty safe as the ruck. I think so anyway. Stevens out with mental health. Best of luck to him. So yeah, yeah, should be an interesting game. I think people were expecting the Giants to easily beat the Saints, so I think the Saints can be competitive. Another thing to note, I think Joyce and Wilkie, I'm not sure how they play together, because I remember Joyce took a few intercepts. I hope it doesn't hurt Wilkie's score, because I need him on field. But still going to play Wilkie on field. Okay, we have Brisbane versus the Swans. Nobody Franklin still. That's not good for Isaac Heaney. I dream of Heaney. Hayward in, Jack in. Jack is cooked. I don't know why he is still playing. Rowbottom, I think, was on the bubble in the midfield, but yeah, not relevant at the moment. And yeah, not much to see in this game. Heaney's named on ball. That is a lie. Liar, John Longmire. Interesting to see where Hewitt goes. I would assume to Lachie Neale. I think Lachie Neale will be hard to tag though. So Ainsworth survives. Yeah, I want to go early on him, but I shouldn't. I don't. One thing on going early on rookies, you shouldn't do it, but sometimes it pays off, and it can help you get in a premium early the next week. This week's just not the week to do it. Having said that, I might do it, but I advise not to. So yeah. Now Eagles versus Gold Coast. Eagles have a few players playing really well in the waffle. I think it's Matthew Allen and I think it's Hamish Brayshaw. Hopefully they can get a game soon. No Rotham. His job security was pretty bad anyway, and yeah, he only had I think it was 10 disposals in the waffle. Not great, but for his role, it's okay. For the Suns, Lukosius out. That is good for what's his face? Corbett. We can look at him after this week. Brody out. Pierce Hanley had some caravan park incident. Yeah, he's just an accident waiting to happen. So yeah, don't like him at all. Also, he busted Miller's AC joint, so that's karma for him. Yeah, so not much to say in this matchup. So you definitely keep an eye on Corbett for next week, or this week for next week. Oh, that's kind of interesting that Burgess couldn't get a game with Lukosius out. Yeah, that's interesting. Does that mean the only toll was Corbett? Oh, 2 meter Peter. So yeah. Now the Dogs versus Richmond. I give the Dogs a shot this week. They've actually been not that bad. They've just been, their accuracy in front of goal has been horrific. So now the key thing to take out of the Dogs game is Bont said on radio, I think he said he might play a bit more forward. So if you have Dunkley, hold him. If you have Libba, I'd advise to hold him. And McRae, I think I'm gonna captain him this week, just because I feel like it. And he, in round 23 against Richmond, he had a 160, which was actually nearly 200 in Dream Team. So that's that. Yeah, I think Libba and McRae have spent the last 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks ago Libba spent more forward, and last week McRae spent more time forward because Luke Beveridge thinks it's funny. So yeah, another one to note: Shai Bolton from Richmond. I think he's been okay. I think his job security is okay, not fantastic, but I don't mind him as an option. He's been playing really well. I think 11 tackles in the VFL. Another guy that he understands the Richmond way sort of thing, the pressure forward that they have so many of. So they're playing the Tom Lynch plus all the smalls around him, which has worked for them. So yeah, I don't mind Shai Bolton. Teeny bit risky, but you can go for it if you want. The Carlton versus North. It's a bit of a cripple fight going on. No offense to Carlton, they've been good, but just the injuries. They were going to lack a bit of leadership down back, I think. So with Simpson out, I'm not sure who comes in. I think Setterfield comes in, Curnow comes in, and one of Lobb and Phillips comes in, and maybe Williamson because of Newman and Simpson out. Schumacher, don't know anything about him, so see what happens. And North, they're not relevant at all. No Bailey Scott, so whatever. Geelong versus Essendon. I give Essendon a shot this game. I think a lot of us would give Essendon a shot. It's at the MCG, so Darcy Fort, I don't know if he actually plays, probably not. Constable, people are saying that it's because he's not quick enough. Because last time Geelong played Essendon, or I think they played, I can't remember if they played twice, but one of the games, I think Essendon cut him up through the midfield. And that game, Tim Kelly had about 50 points. So I expect him to be back next week, but you never know. Jordan Clark is in, that's good. And then these players aren't really relevant. So Francis is back in. So if Francis is back, that means Hurley will go back to being irrelevant. If he isn't already. irrelevant, but so yeah, and the Crows versus Freo. So Jenkins, Gibbs, Jones, and Fogarty in. I don't think maybe Gibbs is the only one that comes in. Maybe Jones for another small, but doesn't really matter. And then Bewley might come in. Probably not though. He's extended bench. So that's the teams. I'm going to go Grundy into McRae for my captain this week. And if I do this again, I'll try and keep it a bit shorter. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you Sunday night.